Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Nikitinaknits. My name is Evgenia, and in this video I want to speak about new knitting patterns that were released in July of 2025. Looking up for new designs and checking up what's new in the knitting world always keeps me excited. That's why I keep releasing these videos almost every single month. And as usually I don't go among many patterns very quick. Instead, I'm choosing a small amount of them that I would actually knit, and I go in detail about the yarn choice, my preferences regarding the yarn, the construction, some of the thoughts on the construction. So when you watch, you don't only have the patterns in mind, but you actually have more or less clear understanding on how construction works, if you would like to knit it or not, and it actually sits in your mind for a few days to think. So grab your knitting, grab your favorite drink. In my case, I'm having some very nice green tea with flowers and apple. And let's begin with our first knitting pattern. So the first pattern is Astraea top by Meghan Haughton. And the first time when I saw her developing this pattern on the Instagram, the first question I had in my mind is, how am I supposed to wear it? Because it's completely see-through. And then actually in a few days right after, randomly, I went to the shop and I bought this top as well. It's a store-bought, looks like crochet-made top that is completely open and completely see-through. And I'm also not wearing it yet for 1 month already because I don't know how to style it. And I was thinking on that. So the options are, first option, some people actually wear these type of items on top of the white t-shirt. I don't really like that. It's not my style. So cancel, but maybe you like it. And then second option is to wear a top, you know, the normal bra, like a sport bra style, but then I don't like it because it contradicts the style of a beautiful lace motif here and in Astraea top as well. So I was thinking the perfect option would be to actually knit a bralette specifically for these tops. And I actually have a perfect bralette that I want to knit. I spoke about this bralette in my summer knitting patterns video. Check it out if you want. I will put the link in the description box. There is a bralette by Celine Phaeton, and it's knit on very tiny needles. So I could pick some silk yarn and knit a very thin, beautiful bralette that also could be knitted with some crochet and lace edge. And that would actually match that it's a knitted garment and it also has some lace. So let's speak about the Astraea top. I'm in love. Look at this beautiful lace motif. And what I'm seeing in the description, that is completely customizable. For the edging of the top, there's different versions. For the actual garment, you can knit a bralette, top, long version, short version. So I'm very grateful again for those designers who put their time into developing a very interesting customizable pattern. Then you can actually buy one pattern and make different versions in different yarns. Brilliant design, super feminine, very beautiful, and probably very wearable if I would have that perfect bralette to wear it with. So I also want you to pay attention to the details. The edgings of the whole top is worked with a scalloped edge with a crochet hook, and for the bottom you have a different motif that is knit probably with needles, which is a picot edge that is very beautiful wavy motif. Very interesting, very thoughtful. So also I want to point out that this top is presented in 14 different sizes. While I understand that not every single designer can release size inclusive patterns, I'm very grateful when there's a possibility for that. So I want to speak about the yarn first and then the construction. There are three options for the yarn choice. The first one is knitting for olive merino, 100% carded merino. Then second option is knitting for olive pure silk, 100% barrette silk. And the third option is 100% cotton. Mandarin Petit by Sedna's Garn. Depending on the quality that you're chasing, you will have to choose your favorite option. But to be honest, I don't have anything to add to these recommendations, so I would not change the yarn. If I were to knit this garment, I would probably go with knitting for olive merino because I like the lightness of that and I like the breathability of that. Also, I don't sweat a lot in summer and I don't mind wearing this type of merino next to my body. And as soon as it's not close to my armpits and not too tight next to my body, I'm completely fine with that. But you decide which you want for yourself, because for example, pure silk from knitting for olive will give you more drape. The fabric is going to flow way more, and also it's going want to be cooler to the body. And the Mandarin Petite by Sedna's Garn 100% cotton. I saw the sample that is knitted by a designer, is brilliant actually in this yarn. To be honest, I'm not a fan of 100% cotton because of many reasons, but this top in cotton, in this specific cotton, looks really beautiful in that beautiful deep sage green. Very nice. So regarding the construction, it is very smart, very cool as well. I'm quite picky when it comes to construction, and what I like about this top, that actual top starts without the stripes, knitting 2 triangles front and then connecting everything by casting on stitches to the back as well. And after that, you're knitting either flat if you want to knit the opening right here with the buttons or with the stripes, or you connect in the round and knit the whole piece already to desired length. And only when you're done with the whole top, you're only then picking up stripes, casting on here, and then knitting them to the back. And this way we're avoiding one of the main issues when knitting tops, when the stripes are getting stretched and the top basically swims down to our chest and it becomes completely unwearable. So we have to cut the stripes and deal with all of that. Most knitters don't like that. But in this case, everything is solved. You actually enjoy the top-down benefits, and then you actually knit stripes separately. Very smart, very nice job. And also I did mention actually this beautiful stripe at the back. If you wish to add that, looks also very feminine and beautiful. The last thing I mentioned is the gauge is 27 stitches and 30 rows in lace pattern that is blocked. It's important to block your lace swatch because it really changes dramatically after washing. And you will also need 3mm needles to knit the whole garment and 2mm crochet hook if you will want to knit the edging, the scalloped edge. The next one is Seoul Force Pullover by Suchaewha Knit. My favorite style of blouses. It is called pullover, but to be honest, I would call it a blouse more because you have this very beautiful boat neck, lace motif that is very breathable, and a little bit of a drop shoulder style. This type of blouse is also my favorite because I always like to make 2 versions, the summer version in plant-based fiber and winter or maybe spring or autumn like version. So let's take a look at this beautiful pullover. It's very nicely shaped here right under your bones. Of course, we also have a lace motif that allows our body to breathe during summer and we actually enjoy not sweating in it. And also we have a good depth of the armhole, not too high, not too deep. So if we sweat, we don't sweat right into the fabric. And what I also like about this garment is the sleeves. They're very nicely shaped with a proper sleeve cap. And of course, the wearability of that. These type of blouses always go perfect with anything like trousers. Either you want to tuck it in or you want to wear it freely. Linen shorts, jean shorts, all types of skirts as well. You can make it looking official and elegant, or you can make it more casual with some sneakers. I really love when you knit something and you wear it with everything, just like my Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. I wear it with anything on any occasion, and I think this blouse would also work well with anything. By the way, this is a Korean designer and I'm a big fan of Korean knitting patterns, and I have an entire playlist created with knitting patterns for your inspiration. I'm going to be putting the link in the description box, so if you haven't seen those videos, go and check them out. One more point before I speak about yarn and construction. We have the lace motif in this pattern and we have ribbing. So what is good about that is if you're afraid to knit lace and you never knit entire lace project, or maybe you knit it but you don't really want to put the whole effort again, it's very good balance because you have these lace motifs, only a few in the whole garment, and then the rest is ribbing. You have knits and pearls. Very nice and practical choice of the designer to make this pattern available not only for experienced knitters but also for some beginners out there. The recommended yarn is a Korean yarn which is Haute Cotton by Ankles. It looks like a very beautiful yarn that has an interesting chain structure. Actually reminds me a little bit of Cardiff cashmere structure, and it is 100% comped cotton. Comped cotton is the cotton that is gone under a specific process where short and imperfect fibers were just released from the whole thread and only long and strong fibers were left in the yarn. So this results in a very long lasting and durable fabric that is actually strong and doesn't stretch much during blocking and wearing. But since most people won't be able to buy this yarn, I have an alternative for you, which is Katya Cotton Yak. I spoke about this yarn in my summer yarn recommendations. Check this video out out if you haven't. So this is a blend of cotton, wool, and yak, very soft blend, and also has similar or even the same structure, like very beautiful airy chain. And why these type of structures actually make sense in summer yarns, because more air can go through the thread because of this chain structure, and in the end of the day we're having a lighter garment. The construction is very simple, knitted top down. First you start the back panel knitting flat back and forth, also creating the depth of the neck and the back. Then you're doing the same for the front, you're doing the panel, also shaping the beautiful boat neck. After you're reaching the armholes, you're connecting two panels in the round and knitting already in the round to desired length. And then you will pick up stitches around the armhole, doing flat knitting back and front to create this beautiful sleeve cap at first. And after that, you will keep on knitting in the round to the whole desired length. In the bottom of the item and in the sleeves, we're having 1x1 rib, and here at the neckline we're having a very beautiful crochet finishing with 2.5mm. So it's not just raw cast on edge. And also, besides beauty, it adds strength, because the blend fibers, especially cotton, tends to grow with time, and also the garment is quite big, a bit oversized, and it can pull the neckline to the side as you're wearing it with years. And this type of finishing, when we're actually strengthening the edging with the crochet, maybe you could even add some elastic thread to the crochet hook when you're knitting. This can add way more durability and firmness to the whole garment. The gauge is 21 stitch and 32 rows per 10 centimeters in pattern, blocked and washed. You will need 4mm needles for the main garment and 2.5mm needle for the crochet edging here and the neckline. Before I move on, I would like to introduce you to the Woolly Thistle, a very gorgeous yarn shop that is based in the US, and they specialize on storing the best yarn from United Kingdom and Europe in the US. So whenever I speak here on my YouTube about European yarns that I mostly knit with, now I don't feel so bad, because now I know that people from US and Canada can get it. And whenever I'm looking at their yarn selections, I'm just losing my mind how gorgeous. They actually also do have their own yarn that they produce, the Rambler collection, and I'm really excited to try it as well. So I got a chance to partner with them. I became an affiliate partner, meaning if you want to buy anything from their yarn shop, it's quite famous yarn shop, a lot of knitters actually know about that. So if you ever shop from this yarn, please use my affiliate link. I'm going to mention it on the screen through the QR code that you can scan, or find the link right in the description box under this video. So at no cost to you, whenever you make a purchase from their website through my link, I'm making a very small commission, and this helps to run this channel and keep myself creating here. Thank you very much for your support, and I actually hope that you get a chance to try their Rambler collection, the yarn that they actually produce. So the next one is a thin, beautiful sweater. It is from Ukrainian designer Olena Sitalkina. It is called Rebertsia sweater. I was trying to actually pronounce it in English way, Rebertsia. Sounds very funny. And this sweater is a piece of art, and let me explain you why. Because at first you just look at it and you see, oh, very nice, cozy, you know, regular basic sweater. But it's not just a regular basic sweater. First of all, Olena Sitalkina is my favorite knitwear designer. Yes, she doesn't release many different versatile patterns, but the reason to that is because she does take many months to develop one pattern. Every single pattern fits perfectly, and she's very precise about every single millimeter of the sweater on your body. She knits many different samples. She fixes a lot of different issues that she's not happy with before she's releasing the pattern. So you see, she's not rushing to create more designs, but she's focusing more on quality and perfection, you could say. A lot of her designs also are made for male and female version that are completely different patterns. For example, I knitted an entire hoodie pattern from her for my husband, and I also want to knit for myself, which is a female version. So I want you to discover this designer, and if you like the challenge and you like to learn something new each time you're knitting a pattern, she is designer for you. After knitting her pattern, you will feel like you have upgraded all of your knitting skills to another level. At least this is what I felt after knitting the hoodie. Definitely not for people who just started knitting, because her patterns are advanced, but even if you're like strong intermediate knitter, you can easily knit her patterns if you just pay attention and follow all of the instructions. The patterns are only available at her website, but you can check the finished objects by these two hashtags I'm going to be mentioning on the screen. And also you have 3 languages available, which is English, Russian, and Ukrainian. So now that you have the understanding of who I'm speaking about, about, let's speak about the sweater. This sweater was just released, and actually I was gifted this beautiful pattern. Thank you very much to Olena. I'm very excited to knit this garment. And the first feeling that I get from this sweater is very cozy, quite lightweight sweater that is going to warm me up during long walks in autumn or in winter. And also the turtleneck, one of the main features of this design, could be worn in a few different ways. First, you can fold it inwards and create a very beautiful thick fabric. Of course, you can wear it outwards like the standard way. And some people actually knitted it short, so it finishes right here. I prefer that look, to be honest. And they don't fold it over because it's short. Very nice when the edge is done in a different color, both in the turtleneck, in the sleeves, and in the bottom, because the design is very minimalistic and simple. Looks simple, right? Not needed simple. And we can add some intricacy to the garment by changing the color of the edging, or maybe even picking up the tweed yarn. I'm going to speak about later about the yarn. So the whole garment is knit on 2.75mm needles for you to just know how lightweight it's going to be. And by just picking two different types of yarn, you can achieve two different looks. So the whole sweater is a ribbed sweater. And that's why if the yarn holds the shape, it's bouncy yarn, is going to squeeze you in. So no matter how oversized you knit, the fabric is going to shrink anyways because it's a rib. If you pick very relaxed carded fabric that does not hold shape at all, or different types of fiber like alpaca or so, it's going to stay oversized and stay flowy so it doesn't squeeze you in. So Olena designed the sweater to be knitted with this type of yarn that does not hold the shape. So that is very, very important to mention, because just a little change of the yarn is going to change the entire look of the sweater in terms of weight and in terms of bounciness. I do not want to end up with a tiny ribbed sweater. It's just not my style. So if I will knit this garment, or when I will knit this garment, I will really take my time to pick up the correct yarn. The recommended yarn is Italian yarn and cone, and most people don't have the access to it. While I love to knit with this yarn, and I sometimes knit with that yarn in my knitting podcast, here I'm not going to speak about it because most people don't know what it is, don't have access to this, and I'm going to directly go into alternatives. So the first alternative I have in my mind is Ito Kosho. Ito is a Japanese yarn brand, and Kosho is their 90% merino and 10% cashmere. Even if we look at the thread, we already can see the airiness and the fluffiness of it, and I'm almost sure that it should not hold the shape. The yarn is sold in these beautiful cones, and each cone has 25 grams and 175 meters. I would swatch with only one strand and see if I like the fabric. It would be very airy, very light garment that is not going to be extremely warm. But if I would want to add some warmth to that, I would add their Ito Sensai mohair. That is very, very thin mohair, and it should be possible to also meet the gauge with it. So depending on what you want, how warm you want the fabric, you can sometimes add those very, very thin mohairs. Second option could be Milano by Lamane, which is also 90% merino and 10% cashmere. Very nice thread, super light, very beautiful carded wool. And the third option I think could be knitting for olive merino. This yarn should be perfect for this design in my head. I actually have the yarn in my stash. I need to swatch. I think it should not hold the shape of the ribbing, but I'm not really sure here because knitting for olive merino is a bit more tightly spun than these two versions that I spoke before. For these type of projects, I do suggest that you need a big swatch, let's say 15 centimeters long and wide, because it's the ribbing and we need to really see what's happening with the gauge and with the structure of the fabric. The gauge that we're aiming for is 30 stitches and 40 rows per 10 centimeters in ribbing. I had to escape a bit to a different location from the sun. So regarding the construction, you start knitting top down from the turtleneck, knitting to your desired length. Then from there, you go back and forth at the back of the sweater, creating a very nice depth. And then at the same time, already forming these beautiful saddles. So usually the saddles are knitted straight. If you ever knitted this before, for example, Terrasso neck by Petite Knit, April Cardigan by Petite Knit has that type of construction. But in her patterns, she took the best from saddle shoulder and she deleted the rest that doesn't work. Like she really optimized it to the way that she wants. And I would say it's a unique saddle shoulder construction that you don't ever knit in any other designs because they're completely created by her. So then after you reach out to necessary width of the saddles, you start increasing for the arms, already knitting in the round. And also there are different rates of increases. For the back is one rate, for the front is different, to ensure a very perfect perfect armhole shaping, including all of the features of the way the female body is shaped. Then you're going to split for sleeves, knit the body in the round to desired length, and then knit the sleeves. You pick up the stitches that were on hold and you knit to desired length. So that was sweater Rebertsia from Olena Sitalkina, and I hope you can get a chance to knit it one day. The next one is Windy Cardigan by Jihye. The Windy Cardigan that she just released is a very beautiful, breezy, summery piece, and there's so many different ways that I would like to style it with. So you see there are a few versions of this design, and she's describing them all in her pattern. You can knit the short version, you can knit the long sleeve version, you can do the tie cords, and she's guiding you through all of these instructions, how to customize it. So that's amazing, you can pick your style. I was thinking what I would like to wear, and I decided that I'm a bit oversaturated with the tie designs lately, so maybe I would pick the button design, and instead of doing short sleeve, I would do the long sleeve with a little bit of opening, so I would increase on the sleeves to create a little bit of the bell shape. And I can see myself wearing a very beautiful knitted bralette right under, so you can clearly see that beautiful knitted bralette popping up. So you see it's actually a 30 design where I desperately need the bralette, and I think it could look really beautiful if I ever get to make it. And overall, I think the piece looks very beautiful, polished and finished because of this beautiful bottom band, also in the bottom and in the edging. And actually, it looked to me at first like a crochet piece. And I don't like to crochet much. I don't know how to make it nice. I only do the edgings, you know, for my knits. And I'm not really into crocheting, at least for now. So it's really nice to see a knitted piece that looks a bit like crochet. The recommended yarn is a DK weight yarn with 19 stitches and 32 rows per 10 centimeters in stitch pattern in lace motif. And the yarn is again Korean. I don't have the access to it. It's Uncle's Wave Boucle. I would try my best to find the alternative to this yarn. And I think I know one, which is Bare Cotton from Knitpicks. Or another option could be a new yarn from La Mana that is called Torino, that is 80% superfine merino wool and 20% silk. I don't know if it's a DK weight. I think it's a light DK weight or sport, but since we have a lace pattern, we can experiment a little bit with thickness of this thread. So the thinner we pick up the yarn, the more air we're going to see through the cardigan and the more drape we're going to achieve. The whole cardigan is a seamless construction knitted top down. I couldn't find exact explanation on how every single step is knitted, but the pattern comes with complete step-by-step instructions, full charts and video tutorials for complicated moments. So I feel quite safe and relaxed starting this project if I ever do. And also, like with any lace design, I would block the item before actually making the finishing, like I usually say, because this type of lace motif can really change a lot after washing. The next one is Josephine top by Lily Kate France. I find myself wearing such pieces over and over again throughout many years, and they never get off my mind because they're so wearable. And in this specific design, I like that the sleeves are not complete, so you don't have fabric accumulating right under your armpit. So you have a lot of air flowing through and it's very comfortable to wear. It looks very beautiful, very cute and elegant. These very little sleeves add a lot of innocence and lightness to the whole design. And when I do have the mood for these type of things, I'm always searching for them in my wardrobe. There is a very beautiful waist shaping. You have first decreases to the waist and then increases. And since it's an all over 2x2 rib, it should hold the shape quite well if you pick the right yarn. The whole garment is knit with a DK weight yarn on 3.5mm needles with 24 stitches and 40 rows per 10 centimeters. And while it's 2x2 rib, I do think it could go quite fast because of the DK weight yarn. The recommended yarn is Serdar Cashmere Merino Blend and Silk. And when I looked at the structure of this yarn, I reminded myself that I actually don't like this type of structure because I needed a hat for my husband in this type of very twisted structure. And I find it too weird for my liking. I really don't like it. And another thing I don't like about this type of yarns and that are spun in such way is that one of the knit stitches in the ribbing become weird, like they become rope like looking. I don't know how to explain it exactly. I'll find some pictures to showcase that. I would go with a different yarn. The first option I would recommend is BC Garn Bio Balance, which is a DK weight yarn. BC Garn Bio Balance also comes in a fingering weight yarn, so be careful to not pick that one. So I spoke about Campanula dress in my June new knitting patterns, and it also knit with the ribbing, and I really like how this Bio Balance looks in the ribbing. So I do feel quite confident to use it for this type of project as well, and I think it would look really nice. Another option would be a blend of cotton and wool. I think it's 60% cotton and 40% wool, which is Duo by Sedna's Garn, and I saw a finished object on Ravelry of this top in this specific yarn, and I really like it. It looks really beautiful. The stitches are very neat and the ribbing looks just perfect. Just a note that the yarn should be very good in holding the shape, so whenever you're swatching, make sure to again make the big swatch like I mentioned for the sweater, like 15 to 15 centimeters at least, so you can see how much of a bounce you're going to have, because if you don't have enough bounce, the whole garment is just going to be very floppy and weird on your body. It's not going to just hold the shape beautifully, which is not the idea for this design. And now the construction. The construction is knitted actually bottom up, and I couldn't find this information in the description of the pattern, which could be actually very nice because I'm always looking to how the construction is knit. So I had to go through Ravelry and see the work of testers, and to see that actually you knit bottom up. First you decrease the fabric to create the waist shaping, then you increase the fabric to, you know, create the bust shaping in a way, and then you start the raglan decreases to already shape the sleeves. Designer offers different rates of decreases to make customizable yoke shape. I don't know what exactly it means, what differences you're going to achieve by choosing this decrease rate or another, but I imagine it is all described really well in the pattern. And the last one for today is Acacia Cardigan by Sedna Yang. This is a piece of art. I'm literally lacking words to describe this beautiful colorwork cardigan. It's been developed and tested for quite a long time. I don't know even how many months. I remember looking at it in the springtime and I was thinking when it is going to be released, and just now in July is being released. And I like that there were many testers as well, because this cardigan involves sticking through the fabric, meaning cutting through the fabric, which is quite complicated, especially for beginners, and it's nice when the pattern is heavily tested. So this is a stranded colorwork that represents very beautiful acacia leaves. I think it's a very nice super warm piece that could be actually worn instead of the jacket when it just starts to get cold. Like here in the north of Spain, I could already see myself wearing this in the end of September, just like a top layer, maybe with a high turtleneck jumper, when you don't want to wear a full feathers jacket yet, but it's already cold enough to wear just a thin cardigan. So it's a very beautiful and colorful project, and also depending on the colors that you pick, either high contrast, colorful choices or very neutral ones, low contrast, you can achieve different style, like a minimalistic style or a more popping, colorful style. I prefer a bit more minimalistic style, and I really like this soft blue denim color with a natural white combination. Really beautiful. And by the way, this is also a Korean designer. This video is quite heavy on Korean new patterns. So regarding the yarn, it is knit in Haughton Super Soft, and this is 50% merino wool and 50% Shetland. I got a chance to try the Haughton Super Soft in real life. I cannot say that it's actually super soft, but I'm also a very sensitive person. So for me, it's quite rough, to be honest. And people say that after blocking and wearing it multiple times and washing again, it becomes softer. But some people actually argue with that, and they say that super soft stays the same forever, super rough. But actually, it is a V-neck cardigan, so it's not going to be choking us at the neck, and it doesn't really make sense to really be so picky about softness of the yarn. Haughton Super Soft is a very affordable yarn with huge amount of color selection that is very beautiful. I would like to try this yarn, and it's very budget friendly as for me. But if I were to knit this cardigan, I would go with something different. I would go with Biche Bouche Le Petit Lamb's Wool. I think it should be a bit softer, but it's still not like merino soft. It is a first cut lamb's wool. It is somehow close to Shetland qualities, but not as rough as Shetland. And it's also extremely lightweight, and most people pick this yarn for color work. Biche Bouche yarns are presented in the Woolly Thistle yarn shop in USA, in the one I mentioned in the middle of the video. And also it's very easy to find here in Europe. And Le Petit Lamb's Wool has even better color selection as for me. Like every single color is so complex, interesting, and they have a lot of very light, neutral, unsaturated colors, which I like. So I would pick that yarn, and the recommended needles are exactly the same 3.5mm needles. So the whole cardigan is knit on 3.5mm needles with 27 stitches per 10 centimeters gauge in color work. washed and blocked. And the whole construction is knit top down. The structure is a round yoke, but you start flat. Here, you cast on stitches for the neck, you go flat back and forth to create the neck depth. Then you connect everything in the round, creating also these stick stitches, like these little stripes through which you're going to then cut the fabric. And then you keep on knitting in the round, making increases along the whole yoke, basically like a normal round yoke, like this one that I'm wearing right now. Then you're splitting for sleeves, knitting the whole cardigan down in the round as well, picking up stitches that were on hold here in the sleeves and knitting them down to desired length. After that, you're going to stick the fabric through with instructions. I hope there are also video instructions, but if not, there are many tutorials on YouTube that can actually help you to not feel so afraid of cutting through the fabric. And then you already cast on stitches for the ribbing and knit 1 by 1 ribbing. In my case, I would maybe pick 2 by 2 ribbing or 2 by 1 ribbing, or maybe I would even think if I want to make a double knit bottom band, but I don't know if it will look nice in this specific yarn. I would maybe try to find natural materials buttons, because the whole mood of the cardigan is very nature oriented, very natural, and I don't see shiny plastic buttons in this type of design. I actually have very nice acacia wood buttons in my stash. They would look really gorgeous in this pattern. Yeah, I'm very excited after each video that I record like that. One thing is when you just list them on Ravelry and you're like, oh, I like it, and you keep thinking about something else. But another thing is when you speak through each design and you think on the yarn, and after recording the videos like that, I already think what to cast on next, which is nice. Sometimes it could feel overwhelming that there's so many designs and we can't knit so fast, but I don't want to knit a lot and to knit fast. The only thing I want is to keep myself excited, because with the amount of yarn and the amount of investment I did in my knitting, it would be really frustrating to lose my knitting mojo, you could say. So if you got excited, please let me know which pattern you would like to knit and which pattern you're knitting right now. It's summer. I know a lot of people on vacation. I also try to hike a lot in the mountains, and I'm also actually looking forward to August, because in August I'm going to get 30 years old. It's going to be my big birthday, and we're already planning to go to the mountains for 10 days heavy hiking. And last year in July, in this specific time, we were hiking around Mont Blanc. We did Tour de Mont Blanc with my husband. It was a very beautiful journey, and I feel like my body is asking for heavy hiking again. So that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, press the notification bell button, so whenever I record a new video and I release it, you're getting notified about it right away. Thank you also for your beautiful comments. This is something that gets me inspired and keeps me creating here. Thank you again very much for watching, and I'm hoping to see you soon in my next video.